Will Smith's first movie after the worldwide slap we all heard with Chris Rock. I find it kind of ironic that he does a slave movie after, but whatever. To get the pauses out of the way, this movie is great when it comes to the acting and performances. I haven't seen Will Smith give like this much effort into a role in a long time. You can tell how much weight he's lost. The dialogue for his character is great. I know this is based on true events. I know the first guy's name is Peter. I forget his last name. I probably should have looked it up before the review. But I think they captured the whole slave trade really, really well. And like I said, the acting and like the performances and the dialogue were really good. That was probably the best part of the movie. Obviously, Will Smith isn't going to get a Oscar nomination for this movie. I think they said he got banned for like 10 years or something stupid like that. I don't know if you guys think that whole thing was staged. I don't think it was, because it really fucked up his career in the long run. Not a lot of people want to do movies with him anymore. So here he is doing a slave movie. And man, the amount of weight that this man lost, I don't know how much weight he lost. He looks like he lost a shit ton of weight. He was never fat, but you can definitely tell he put in a lot of work to do this role. And it seemed like he really cared. Like he really wanted to be there. He really made this movie watchable. If he wasn't in this, I probably wouldn't have watched it. There's another actor in here I like, Ben Foster. He's in a lot of movies. More of like a B-list actor. But I always thought he was a bit underrated. I don't see him in a lot of like big movies. And his character here is kind of weird. We get a bit of a backstory for him, but in the end, it doesn't really amount to anything. You just don't see him again. But Ben Foster's acting was great. Everyone's acting was great, but Will Smith, just like usual, steals the show, sucks you into his performance. This is a very emotional movie, obviously, and it's about when Abraham Lincoln set the plan to free the slaves. And the plot is basically Will Smith's character running. Well, he gets captured from his family, and then he ends up running through the swamps, and it takes him at least 5 days. And when they said that, I was like, okay, because they kind of plan it before they do it, and they end up doing it, and you really feel like you're in there for 5 days. There's no title card or anything coming up saying like day 1, day 2. But it's a long sequence that goes on for, I say, like at least half the movie, man. It's a 2-hour movie, and it felt like it was almost an hour by this time. It wasn't. It was pretty much technically 40 minutes, but there's a long chase scene throughout the swamp. I was pretty engaged by it. I wasn't bored. I was curious where it was going to go. I wasn't sure if he was going to get away or if he was going to get caught. There's a couple of silly instances with a couple of alligators that aren't realistic, and it kind of takes away the believability of the movie, if that's even a word. But another thing this movie does really well, I hear a lot of people don't like about it, is just like the filter they put over the movie. At first I thought it was in black and white, and then my eyes adjusted to it more. And there is some color in the movie, but for the most part, they really put a dingy, dirty, shitty looking filter over it, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it suited the movie really good. It suited that time period really good, and it just fit in with the aesthetic of the movie. Great cinematography, great shots. Like, there is some really creative camera work here. Yeah, I do have a lot of positives. I do have a couple of negatives, but this isn't a movie I want to sit down and like bash on. I don't really want to offend that crowd of people. But the only things I didn't like was not, how this was portrayed in the movie compared to real life. It was more so how the story was told was decent. You do feel a bit of a payoff at the end watching him, get back together with his family. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie or knows what happened to him in real life. But he gets, a happy ending. He doesn't die. It's not a sad ending. It's really joyful and wholesome. But the story is just, I don't really know how to explain it, but there's just some pacing issues. The middle of the movie definitely drags a bit. Um, I didn't feel like there was enough, even though Will Smith was terrific, I didn't feel like there was enough of him communicating. There's a lot of scenes of him just by himself, um, gathering supplies, that kind of thing. He leaves like a blood trail behind, and then he's got to cover it up so the dogs can't sniff it out. He does a couple of really smart tactics like that are really cool to watch, but when he's by himself for so long, you kind of want him to engage with another person because the dialogue that they give Will Smith's character is really good and it's really like captivating and interesting to watch. But a lot of this movie, he's just by himself, and I was entertained, but I wanted the swamp thing to just die down a bit. I did feel like it went on a bit too long. And by the time you get to the end, you don't really feel like there was that much buildup. But I do get, why they're doing it this way. They're not trying to they're not trying to drag it out too long and make it like a big hero story, because this was someone in real life and they got to be respectful of that. I think it was a very subtle way how they ended the story. Like I said, it was joyful, it was happy, but definitely pacing issues and not the best build up. You care about Will Smith because he's Will Smith, but like everyone else, it doesn't really matter. And it cuts away from him a lot to show his family, which I didn't mind, but I didn't know what the fuck they were saying because they were talking in their native tongue, not English, and for some reason there was no subtitles for me. So a lot of those scenes, I literally was sitting there for like 5 minutes listening to them talking, and I had no idea what they were saying because there was no subtitles. That definitely took a bit of enjoyment away because I have a feeling it was a very heartfelt moment or a good moment that I missed out on. I don't know. I might look it up on YouTube. Just pacing issues, a bit of character growth. If this movie was like longer and a bit better story wise, I think it would be a lot better. And I don't know how accurate this is to the real life version. But from what I saw, I would definitely give this movie a 3 out of 5. Not a 3 out of 10, that would be tremendous. Ranking out of 5, I would give it a 3 out of 5. Definitely worth watching, like just for the performances alone. But if you're looking for like a deep slave emotional story, I think you're better going off and like watching Django Unchained or something like that. There's a lot of movies that do the whole emotion side of this a lot better side characters. You just don't have enough time to care about everyone that they're throwing in the movie. But Will Smith's character, definitely the highlight, definitely the reason to watch the movie. Like I said, if it wasn't for him, I definitely wouldn't have watched this. Thanks for watching the review.